This horse and rider is I have asked to come today. Is very skilled. It's a very skilled rider. She has a very good seat and a very excellent feeling. She's on a very hot horse. He is 12 years old. I think he's turned 13. And he is a good example. And I have permission to tell the history because I have trained Annette and Miami, Annette Heine and Miami for 2.5 years. And he was kind of what we call a correction horse. He was very tense in his work, and he was using all too much strength on carrying his rider. He was what I talked about before, a horse who really works on 2 joints. He was kind of pushing backwards, and he has tremendous power, this horse, so he lifted a lot, and it looked fantastic for people who doesn't know better, this very cadenced trot, but it was all resistance. He was not at all had acceptance of the bit. He was wrong in his outline behind vertical, and therefore he was forced to carry the rider, as I explained before, in the back muscles, and that of course created discomfort, and a horse with this temper will kind of be more and more tense. He will not resign and stop going forward because of his temper. Actually, he did more and more, and of course, if that has proceeded, I don't think that horse would go around today. But Annette has been very clever. She has followed our system, and today we actually have a horse that is very correct in his basic training. We can still make him show signs of these years of wrong basic training if we ask for it, and we can try to do that at a stage to overbend him and ride him wrong in the top line, but all our work is more or less still on making him go sufficient to the bit in the right way and go with the top line stretched and with a long back. See, any horse is an individual like us people. We train through some principles and some systems, but each horse needs to be trained in a different manner, considering his movements, his conformation, his temper, and important of all is what he have experienced before. The way we corrected this horse was actually to slow him down, so he looked very boring. Annette calls it a boring trot. I think she have learned now to find this boring trot very rewarding, because this horse overdid it all the time. He was resisting, and therefore he did more and more, and we weren't in control, and it was all tensions. But through this work where we had slowed him down, taking the impression out of his, or expression out of his movements, we have learned or taught him to learn to relax. And I will show you today how we are in control of the different things in the basic training. The length of the strides, the speed, the outline. And when I ask Annette to ride with more expression, she will be able to do so. And the minute we ask her to slow down again and show that the horse is correct and relaxed, she will be able to do so. This is a horse that is quite long now in his education. We're working on the difficult movements, but that's not the object today. We are talking about basic work. But on this horse you will see it's much more established than in the young horse I showed you before. Now if Annette halts here, because I will try to talk a little bit about the seat. And I want you to notice when now Annette starts to ride her beautiful seat. But I will talk about very briefly how we sit correctly. Well, sit straight on the horse. You should have a line here down through the shoulder the seat and to the end of the heel. Then you sit straight on the horse. If you lean back, you will put pressure on his back and he will lower his back. If you sit like this, you will not be able to use your seat. That means that you can't kind of tighten up your stomach muscle and trække lænden an. This is Danish. I don't know what the word is in English. But trække lænden an. You can practice this. Try to trække lænden an. Yes. Practice this by sitting on a chair at home on the edge of the chair. And try with your seat to lift the back legs of the chair from the ground. It's the same movement. So you can actually try that at home. So you should always be relaxed here, but your seat should be in a certain way. So when you take the half halt here, you drive the horse forward to the hand and you close your hands. At the same time you trækker lænden an, you tighten up your seat. That means that the action of the rein will go through the reins, up through the top line of the horse and have an influence down on the hindquarters. So it's kind of the seat that brings the action of the rein down to the hindquarters. That's why the seat is very important. When the horse have taken the half halt, you relax your seat again and sit like I call it neutral. That means we don't push the horse with our seat. We sit neutral and the seat should actually work like the suspension in a car. Be comfortable for the horse when he lifts the back muscles here and make sure that it's not uncomfortable that we sit there. The worst thing you can have is stiff riders with stiff backs who kind of sits and jam down in the back of the horse. So a soft seat. But this is the accelerator, this is the brake, this is the clutch. So if a horse is heavy and doesn't move forward, you should not start to sit and squeeze with your seat. That will only cause problems. He will lower his back and he will get heavier actually. Use your leg. If your horse is not responding forward, make him respond for your leg. Don't push with your seat. Be soft in your seat. All right? Hand. Well, the hand should be with the thumbs turning up. And you should bend your wrist slightly. And you should relax in your hands. So your wrist can work. When we have a steady contact to the horse's mouth, the rein can't give in because it's made of leather. But the wrist can. So you have this kind of, when the horse is stable on the hand, this feeling of elasticity here, like an elastic. And that is the wrist. A lot of riders ride with their hands like when they play piano, for example. And that's a very stiff connection. You can't give in here. You can't be flexible. So the hand should be up with the thumb upwards and slightly bended wrist so you can open up and you can close it. And that's the hand, and that's very important. In our work, we don't fiddle or don't move the bit in the mouth. When we talk about acceptance of the bit, we're talking about that the horse accepts the bit on its bars. That means he should accept a light pressure on his bars. If riders moves the bit all the time, again we create discomfort. You see this horse go in behind the uncomfortable movement of the bit here, and he will avoid to have the bit on his bars. He will either avoid the pressure at all by bringing his head in, or you will see horses who goes up here and they will take the bit between the corner of their lips. What does normally we see riders then do? Well, they go down and close the noseband. Well, that doesn't bring any further accept of the bit. You just produce more discomfort. And we don't ride with our nosebands too tight. They should be able to take a piece of sugar. And there should be space here. So learn to sit still with the hands. When we do something in one side, if Annette flexes him on this left side, the right hand should make sure that the bit doesn't move in the mouth of the horse. So we never use unilateral actions of the reins unless we ride a very young horse where we do these leading actions of the reins. But when the horse is more experienced, when you take in one side, the other side will make sure that the bit doesn't move in the mouth. So the hand should be absolutely still. You should not be able to see the rider's influence, because it's like you squeeze water out of a sponge. You just kind of close your hands more of the rein and use your wrists. And that's very important. A lot of horses are used to this discomfort, and they will of course learn that it's easier to avoid this thing, and they will give in here instead of learning to give in here. That means that the action of the rein will always stop in the neck of the horse and have little influence in the closing of the hindquarters. That's why it's so important to learn what it means that you ride the horse to the bit. Okay, that was more or less what I want to say about the seat. Thank you.